forget to leave a like and subscribe to Shadyology. Hello there, YouTube. It is I, Skeletor, and I am pirated Shadyology's channel once again. Why, you ask? Now, in one of my last videos, I asked you all if you wanted Skeletor to react to the Ghostbusters, and an overwhelming number of you said yes, so I, Skeletor, shall provide. However, this is going to be the first actual full film I run commentary for. It may take a little longer than I expected, but in the meanwhile, I, Skeletor, will not leave you all with nothing. So I will do a little quick one until Shady has completed editing that. Well, we were looking for something small to do. We came across something quite hilarious from a place called Inside Edition. Now, I don't know much about this Inside Edition. For example, I don't even know if there's an Outside Edition. You'd think that if they had an Inside Edition, they'd also have an Outside Edition. Otherwise, why even point out that it's an Inside Edition if they didn't already have an Outside Edition? And if you know that they have an Outside Edition, well, let Skeletor know. Which edition is better, inside or out? Anyway, this is from the Inside Edition YouTube channel, where I found a really hilarious video they had called Why Skeletor Gives the Best Life Advice. Finally, Skeletor gets recognized for more than just being evil. I mean, I like being recognized for being evil, but I'm multidimensional, and it's about time that somebody recognizes that. Now, apparently this is about a person who wrote a book about me, and why Skeletor gives the best life advice. I'm really interested to know who this person is, and why he is so high on my life advice. I mean, I've always been high on my own life advice. Anyway, without further ado, let's watch this thing, shall we?
You pathetic pair of pitiful pinheads!
I love it when I say that! You pathetic pair of pitiful pinheads! I haven't said that in a long time. Mind you, I haven't seen those pathetic pair of pitiful pinheads in a while. I kind of miss them.
You overgrown alley cat! You flea-bitten fur-brain!
When you're faced with a...
You know what I miss? Back in Eternia, I spoke with an echo. Shady, make me speak for this entire video with an echo. I'm getting homesick. Something about the air in Eternia that makes me and He-Man have an echo. Here on Earth, not so much.
When you're faced with a problem, just ask yourself, what would Skeletor do?
I ask myself that question all the time. What would I do? My question is, why don't more people think that way? I like the cut of this man's jib.
Skeletor can teach us a lot about friends, about family, about relationships, about your first...
Relationships? I'd like to have whatever this guy's smoking. Relationships. Me, Skeletor? Well, maybe. That would be funny, though, would it not? Maybe I should start a whole new channel called Skeletor's Relationship Advice.
First job, and about how to channel your frustrations into shaking your fists to the heavens.
You blundering fool!
You blundering fool! Can you imagine if everyone did exactly what Skeletor did when they were frustrated? Everybody at the DMV waiting in line, going, make the line go faster, you blundering fools! What an amazing world it would be!
My name is Rob Perlman, and I wrote the book, What Would Skeletor Do?
He wrote a book about me! Doesn't this guy look like if Dr. Phil and the guys from that Duck Hunter show had a child?
That's a complete load of crap.
Ridiculous.
Either that or really nerdy Abraham Lincoln. What would Skeletor do? Diabolical Ways to Master the Universe. By Rob Perlman. I love it!
Well, who do we have here?
Am I just chilling with He-Man? I love it how he chose Skeletor to make a book about, and not He-Man. It's kind of refreshing.
Skeletor. All right, Skeletor.
Skeletor is the master of evil and the chief rival of He-Man.
Yes, I am the master of evil, and I guess the chief rival of He-Man.
Oh, He-Man, we meet again!
They were the stars of a cartoon show from the 1980s.
And the masters of the universe.
You should say Skeletor, and the greatest villain of the universe.
When I was growing up, I loved the TV show. I watched it every day after school.
Is it possible that this man was even nerdier as a kid?
It was based on a toy line from the 1980s.
Now I have the power.
He-Man and Skeletor each sold
I always hated that commercial. I never win.
separately.
And the central premise was Skeletor, who's the master of evil, wanted to take over this gigantic castle Grayskull. And the forces of good, including and especially
Look at how well my face fits in that castle. I deserve that castle. It rightfully belongs to me. It's plagiarized my face for too long.
He-Man, were keeping him from doing that.
Here's He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Skeletor is his enemy.
And at the end of each episode had a little tag where characters would come back and say what they learned from the episode.
In today's story,
Yes, and I never got to say what I learned. That's kind of infuriating. I always went to the producers and said, hey, when is it Skeletor's turn to say what he learned? They would always have some excuse like, oh, it doesn't look good if a villain says what he learned. I said, that's more important to see what a villain learned than what a hero learned, but they never listened to me.
He-Man used something even more powerful than his muscles to beat Skeletor. You know what it was? If you said his brain,
I was gonna say something else.
you were right.
And then I realized, well, why didn't Skeletor ever get a tag?
I love this man's pin. Where do I get that pin? Everyone should get that pin. Maybe I should have a whole new merch line with just that pin. And yes, why doesn't Skeletor get to say what he learned?
At the end of it. So I thought, this is Skeletor's time.
I waited a long time for this.
Yes, I have. It's about time.
He has something to say if you want to actually listen to what it is, because everyone can learn something from Skeletor.
Morons!
The biggest thing
I still haven't yet to hear anything he thinks I should teach anybody. All I'm saying is throwing out insults like morons and fools. I'd like to hear some of the amazing life advice. I have yet to hear some.
Skeletor can teach us is what not to do, but I tried to turn that around and say the tiny little nuggets of wisdom that he could give us.
Of course, you worthless hunk of fur! Books are the real treasures of the world!
Yeah, see? There you go. Books are the real treasures of the world. I could write a book about what you don't know.
Skeletor is not a good guy by any stretch of the imagination.
Nor do I pretend to be. But compliments will get you everywhere. I really like this guy.
Listen, I am not nice, I am not kind, and I am not wonderful.
But
No, I am not. Although I am holding a dog when I'm saying that, so...
as evil as he is, you have to admire his tenacity and his stick-to-itiveness. Every episode he just keeps trying and
I always wondered. I've heard that stick-to-itiveness being used. Is that a real thing? Or is that a real word, stick-to-itiveness?
trying and trying.
Who will stop me? Not you!
How about me, Skeletor?
As much as Skeletor
I always act like I didn't know that was coming. Isn't that interesting? Like I didn't know He-Man was going to be there, even though he's always there.
wants world domination, he doesn't necessarily like getting his hands dirty, so he definitely surrounds himself with lackeys and yes men.
What's wrong with that? Why should I do the work? I'm the overlord. I don't have to work. That's why I want to conquer the world, so that I really never have to work. It's the ultimate form of laziness.
Who try to do a lot of the dirty work. Sometimes he realizes that the only way to get things done is to do it yourself.
Witless fools, do I have to do everything for you?
But because he is evil, he never wins.
And it's funny, I say that, but I rarely do anything.
So he doesn't necessarily succeed.
He-Man will not spoil my plans this time!
Skeletor hangs with what he would call a band of nincompoops. His two chief henchmen are Evil Lyn, who is a witch,
You blundering skullface!
I forgot you used to talk to me like that. When I get back to Eternia, I'm going to punish that witch.
and Beastman, who's this big hairy gorilla-like thing.
It's Castle Grayskull. And it's mine. Not so fast, Beastman. He-Man!
I always found it funny in this commercial. My whole thing was to try to get inside the castle. Yet Beastman was already in the castle. Why did he come out of the castle to talk to He-Man who was inside the castle? Why didn't they just yell from the inside? Never made sense.
They keep trying to please him. He is never pleased.
Now, why do I surround myself with fools? Even the robots are smarter than you!
So what?
Yes, it's true. Sometimes I do think, why do I surround myself with fools? Mostly because it's cheap labor.
One thing people should take away from what would Skeletor do is don't do what Skeletor would do.
I find that insulting. How can you say don't do what Skeletor does and say listen to what Skeletor says? I take offense to that.
That being said, you have to admire him for his tenacity and determination to get what he wants. He is, pardon the pun, not two-faced about anything. He is very...
Yes, that's right. I tell you exactly what I think. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't have to sugarcoat it. I'm evil. And when you're evil, it frees you up to say and do what you please.
very clear and very honest.
You're not known for doing favors. What's the catch?
A little demand, He-Man.
Even when he's sort of sneaking around and skulking about and playing tricks on people, he knows what he wants. He's clear about it. You know exactly what his motivations are. And I think, we can learn to sort of follow your dreams like Skeletor does.
And don't let me see.
I still want to know what this guy is smoking. Follow your dreams like Skeletor.
Your mangy hide around here again.
Wonderful. It's funny, this man wrote an entire book about advice that you should listen to Skeletor of, and I only saw one piece of advice in this whole thing, and that was to read a book. Kind of disappointing. I thought he was going to have some actual real pearls of wisdom that I have said. And I have said quite a few. But what did you think? Do you think you should listen to Skeletor? Come to think of it, I have an idea. This has inspired me. Maybe I should start a new live stream, call it Skeletor's Life Advice. Where I, Skeletor, go live and answer all of your life advice questions. I mean, come on, wouldn't it be hilarious to get love advice from Skeletor? An example would be something like, Dear Skeletor, I do not know what to do. I'm at a loss. My wife consistently accuses me of cheating, even though I have never cheated on her. She spies on me, she looks in my cell phone, she hires private investigators. Even if I just talk to someone of the opposite sex, she gets mad at me and puts me in the doghouse. What do I do? Well, my friend, here's Skeletor's advice. I always have a philosophy. If you're gonna do the crime, well, be prepared to do the time. That's only for everyone except for me. But I would suggest, my friend, if this is your problem, if you're going to do the time, well then do the crime. I say cheat. That's right. If she's going to suspect you, regardless of whether you've remained faithful or not, then I say, teach her a lesson. Skeletor says cheat on her. That's right. What's that, Shady? You want me to read that? Why? Shady wants me to read this. Skeletor's life and love advice are for entertainment purposes only. What? Shadyology will not be held responsible for any negative things that may have occurred due to listening to Skeletor's advice. What's the meaning of this, Shady? People are grown-ups. They know whether they should take my advice or not. Anyway, what do you all think? Would you be interested in this? Would you be interested to see a live stream with Skeletor? If you are, ask Skeletor a life advice question similar to the one I just did. I will compile a bunch of them, and I will try my best on a live stream soon to answer them to the best of my ability. And yes, it is for entertainment purposes only. I am an evil villain, after all. You get what you pay for when it comes to advice from an evil villain. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Shadyology. Until next time, bye, Skeletor!